Thank you so much for that warm greeting. And I want to thank you, faculty and staff, for all that you do to make OCCC the great institution that it is. Thank you so much. And there are a couple of groups of people in the audience that I would like to thank especially today. You know, our Board of Regents get zero compensation. They get paid nothing for their service, and yet they spend hours each month poring over documents and agendas and coming to meetings, and they do that because they care about the community and they care about us, the faculty and staff, and they care about our students. So would all members of the Board of Regents in the audience today please rise and let us say thank you. When we closed the college because of bad winter weather, most of us are nice and warm and safe in our homes. But there's a group of employees that don't have that luxury. They're out here sometimes before sunup in the bitter cold and the wind and the freezing temperatures, and they're removing the snow and ice from the sidewalks and the parking lots so that we can come back to work, and when we do it, we come back safely. I think they're oftentimes unseen and unheralded, and sometimes maybe unappreciated. Would everyone here today with facilities management please stand and let us say thank you. The most important job that I have as your president is keeping you safe when you're on the campus. It overrides any other task that I have. And I worry about it every day. Well, there's a group of people in the audience today whose primary function is to keep us safe. They are the first line of defense if we have a problem. And some member of our campus police is on this campus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They never get a holiday off. They're always here, and they're always ready to protect us. Would all members of the campus police and the campus police office please stand and let us say thank you. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank my wife Tammy and the new First Lady of Oklahoma City Community College. Tammy, thank you for your love and your support and your friendship. You are my closest confidant, and I also want to thank you for your very wise advice and counsel. Would you please stand and let us recognize you? She will be a great ambassador for OCCC. You know, today we're going to talk about the future of the college. But one of the ways we can do that is to look to the past. And I'd like you to think back with me to September 25th, 1972. That's the day we opened our doors for classes. And I think the only current employee who was here that day is Ray McCullough. But there are some retirees. Gary, I think, was here. But September 25th, 1972, we opened our doors for classes. I want to tell you what an accomplishment that was. 1 year prior, actually less than a year, but 1 year prior, this college had no faculty, no staff, no library books, no textbooks, no curriculum, no learning materials, and no building, and no money to build a building. And yet, 1 year later, the doors to this campus were opened for students. And it's that kind of can-do, you can't stop us, we can overcome any obstacle spirit that have been given to us by our predecessors. That is our legacy, and that is who we are. It really does make me want to stand up and shout, we are OCCC. Now, back in those days, they would have shouted, we are Sock Jock, because it was South Oklahoma City Junior College. But that's the kind of legacy that this school has. Imagine those obstacles, and they were all overcome. But where are we today? Well, we are doing great work. You are doing great work. I want to mention just a few things. We have a math faculty that redesigns the developmental math curriculum and dramatically increases success rates. We have very extraordinary high rates of passage on the nursing licensing exam due to our excellent nursing faculty. We recently have had several departments go through their reaccreditation process, all complete with flying colors. We have a great partnership with the University of Central Oklahoma to help our students succeed in high school here and then later at UCO. We have the highest number of graduates in our history. We have a student counseling center that helps students who have life issues that may get in the way of their college success. We have student-scheduled child care that has been a game changer for some of our single parent students. Adult basic education. I'm going to tell you something I think most of you probably don't know. We have the largest adult basic education program in the state of Oklahoma. 2/3 of all adult basic education students in the state of Oklahoma are students of Oklahoma City Community College. The OCCC Capitol Hill Center is providing hope and training and education for people in that community. The Performing Arts Center, that's still relatively new, has already become an icon for OCCC. And it not only provides services for you and me as faculty and our students, but in the entire community. But there are other realities as well. And there is a disturbing trend of a declining support for higher education. And how does that declining support manifest itself? Well, it manifests itself, one, with lack of proper funding. Do you realize that in 2016, the fiscal year we're in now, that higher education is funded at $68 million less than it was in 2007, 9 years ago? And we're not even, we're less. And yet we've had cost increases, and we have more students, and we're expected to do more because the demands on us are more. Another manifestation of the declining support of higher education that I've observed, both in the community and at the state capitol, is there seems to be, among some people, a devaluing of higher education, that it doesn't have intrinsic value and worth. You and I know that higher education, you heard me on the film say, I wanted to get out of poverty, so I wanted education. But higher education is not just about making more money. It's about improving your life. It's about changing the way you think about the world. It's about living a more fulfilling and rewarding and rich life. And I see in the community and elsewhere a devaluing of that part of higher education. And third, very disturbing to me, but in my judgment, there is increasing just outright hostility to higher education. And that is a very disturbing trend that we must deal with. Another trend that we're in the midst of right now, actually, is whether it's the state government or the national government or the community or the business community, we are having more and more demands on us for accountability, what we do, why we do it, how we spend our money. And another issue that I see is one that we have created, and it's a good thing. We have done, at OCCC, we have done such a great job of providing services to our students. and providing services to our community, that we set the bar so high that they now expect that very high level of service and that very high level of service to students. Well, that's a good thing, but it still is an issue that we have to deal with. But what about the future? I'd like to make just a couple of observations about the future. One is there are new political and economic realities that we have today. If you take the political and economic landscape of Oklahoma 10 years ago, and you compare that to the political and economic landscape today, it is substantially different. It is dramatically different. And I suspect that change is going to occur even more rapidly. So what that tells us is the status quo won't work. The way we planned, the way we budgeted, what we do, how we do it, for what good are we doing in the community, all of that has to be re-examined, and we have to make sure that we adjust what we do to the new realities. But you know, that will be a challenge. It will be. But every day, we challenge our students to do more and be better. Why shouldn't we also challenge ourselves to do more and be better? There will be difficult decisions to make in difficult times in the future. You know it, and I know it. But I'd like to talk to you about the principles that we need to use to guide us when we are making those difficult decisions. We need to make sure that the decisions that we make, particularly the tough ones, are focused on the mission of the college and help us accomplish the mission of the college. And the mission of Oklahoma City Community College is service to students. And the mission of Oklahoma City Community College is learning and teaching and learning. Let me repeat that. The mission of Oklahoma City Community College is service to students. And the mission of OCCC is teaching and learning. And we have to make sure that the decisions that we make focus on that mission. What about the vision for the future? We need to put increased emphasis not only on our students' success while they are with us, but after they leave. We need to ensure that those students in our transfer programs are achieving high rates of success when they go into their four-year institution. And we need to improve those rates of success. We need to engage much more, I think, in workforce development. And you know, sometimes people think of workforce development as teaching welding and carpentry and plumbing and that sort of thing. And the career techs do an excellent job at that in preparing the workforce in those areas. But if you think about it, our nursing program is workforce development. When our nursing graduates graduate with their associate degree, they have their RN, they pass the license exam, and they go immediately to the workforce. The EMT people do as well. There's some certificate and degree programs in IT where the same thing occurs. So when we think of workforce development, let's think of academic programs, not maybe just the technical trades. But we have to do more than that. You know, I can't foresee what the economy of Oklahoma and America will be like in 10 years or so. But here's what I do believe. I believe that there are going to be many, many, many high-paying jobs in that economy that do not even exist today. And so what we're going to need to do better, we need to be much more proactive and much more aggressive. We need to go out into the community, to the Department of Commerce, all over the country, not just in Oklahoma, and we need to determine what the emerging economy is going to look like. Where are the good jobs going to be in that economy? And then we need to come back and we need to create academic programs that will meet those needs and go recruit students to come in and take those academic programs and understand how it can transform their life. and we need to be much more aggressive at that. We need to expand our services to our community. You know, I mentioned the Oklahoma City Community College Capitol Hill Center, and it's a wonderful facility. Several years ago, the Board of Regents bought a new building. It was not new, it's new to us. It's a really old building. But they bought a building, and we're now remodeling that building. And next calendar year, that building will open. And we're going to move all of our existing operation now in some rented space that we have into that new building. And not only that, for the first time, we're going to offer some Gateway credit courses. That means for the first time in the history of Oklahoma City Community College, we are going to be offering credit classes to those students who are primarily first generation, primarily unsure about college, sometimes fearful of college. We're going to be able to offer those students credit courses in the community in which they feel comfortable. And then once we've set the hook, so to speak, once we offer those courses, we will then transition those students to the main campus. And all of you, particularly on the faculty and in student services, know it's that critically important first semester. We must have success, because if they don't have success, then it's very unlikely we're going to get them to the main campus. In short, we need to reaffirm excellence in everything we do, in every aspect of the operations of our college. And I hope, you know, when I say we are OCCC, I know what that means. And you all who've been here a while know what that means. It's not just a term. It means something. It has deep meaning. And we need to make sure that as future leaders come on and as future employees of the college come to our college, we need to make sure that they understand what we mean when we say we are OCCC. A few remarks in closing. Since the day those classes opened on September 25th, 1972, OCCC has been a beacon of hope. It's been a beacon of hope for the first generation student. It's been a beacon of hope for kids like me with no money who wanted to go to college. It's been a beacon of hope for people who maybe had their education interrupted and are now coming back to college to get that degree. It's been a beacon of hope to people who were in the workforce and realized they were in dead-end jobs and needed more education to improve their lives and support their families. It's been a beacon of hope for everybody in this community since the day we opened the doors. And here's what I hope we can do. I hope that we can rekindle that can-do, entrepreneurial, nothing can stop us attitude that our predecessors exhibited when they got this college open in a year. Let's rekindle that fire that had to burn within them to get that done, so that we say that the DNA, the collective DNA of our predecessors is in us, and that no obstacle, I don't care if it's political, financial, ignorance, intolerance, indifference, any obstacle, we will overcome. We will accomplish the mission of the college. We will not fail. And I hope that you will rekindle that in you. I have in my heart. Now, I want to give you some assurances about a few things. Number one, you have my assurance that I will work ceaselessly. I will not rest until everyone in this room has the tools that you need to do your job with excellence. And I also want to say one other thing. You have my assurance about this. I will use every scintilla of my intellect, of my political experience and skills and influence to keep guns off this campus. One other thing you have my assurance about. The best days of OCCC are not behind us, they're before us. The best days that this college is going to see are in the future, not in the past, as great as our past has been. In a 1985 speech to a group of United States Marines, President Ronald Reagan said, "Some people go through their life wondering if what they did made a difference in the world." And then he went on to say, "But the Marines never have that worry." I want each of you to know I feel the same way about OCCC. What we do is important. It matters, and it matters a lot. We're a pathway for the prosperity of our community and our state and our nation. We're a pathway for our families and our friends and our students for a better life, a more fulfilling life, a successful life, a life that matters. And we are so important to the fabric of the community. So, don't you ever wonder if what you do matters in the world. Every single day, what you do matters to our students and our community because we are OCCC. Thank you and have a great year.